Hello, everybody, and welcome to another cup of self-empowerment to trust, heal, and be thyself. I'm absolutely delighted to introduce a very special lady and welcome her to our cuppa table today. This is Bendure, and Kat, for those of you who don't know her, she's based in the US and she's an entrepreneurial visionary and creator who facilitates energetic communication with all forms of consciousness. Kat accesses other worlds and dimensions to see the truth of who someone is and assemble the picture of what's in or out of alignment in their life to increase personal understanding and encourage choice that leads to wholeness and fulfillment of mission. Wow, that's beautiful. So welcome, Kat. Thank you for taking the time to have a cuppa with us today.
It's so great to see you, and thank you for inviting me. And wow, that was a mouthful.
Don't worry, I was all swallowing my words as well.
No. I'm not used to hearing it.
Oh, no, it's good. I think it's really nice to actually, that's why I like to introduce everybody, because I think it's important for us to actually hear those words, because we write them down. We may, we often write them down and share them with others, but to actually witness someone else read them out aloud, I think that's really important. It's kind of like an embodiment, I feel. And and every beautiful person who comes on the show needs to be introduced and shared, and people need to know who you are. So that's why. So Kat, tell me, how did you start trusting thyself on your journey?
Oh, that's such a good question. It took a long time, I think. My journey started unexpectedly. I didn't necessarily, I had a health issue that sort of rearranged my life, and found myself in the middle of it, and found that I didn't think that I knew who I was. I had been defined by my job and my title and all of those sorts of things. And in the process of uncovering who I really am, experiences began to happen. Gifts started to present themselves in a different way. And it took me a minute to trust that and to trust me. I thought I was going crazy. I actually, it's funny. I didn't think I was going crazy. I thought everyone else was going to think I was going crazy. That's the honest truth of it.
So what gifts kind of, when you talk about gifts, what kind of started to come more into your awareness?
I started receiving fairly clearly and loudly. I think I always had, but I hadn't paid much attention to it, or it just wasn't present or accessible in exactly the same way.
Okay.
I think probably both of those things.
Yeah.
But I started to receive communication from all of the life forms around me.
Wow.
Other living beings, not just human beings, but I had always been empathic. I didn't know it. I hadn't defined what that actually was that was going on. And this is kind of a funny story.
No, tell us. I'm excited.
I have a pool in my backyard.
You.
And I was spending a lot of time at home. I mentioned I was having a medical issue, and it was cancer. It was a cancer diagnosis, and I had a fairly hefty treatment schedule that took me out of really almost everything for a long time. And the most that I could do was really walk from around my house or my backyard. I wasn't really capable of a lot of physical activity, but something that I enjoyed doing was skimming the pool, taking the pool net and removing debris from the pool. And oftentimes that would be insects or, whoever had fallen in the pool. It was a meditative thing for me. And it became I think because I had nothing else to do in my life at the time, it became something that I did a lot during the day. And as often as I could. And I noticed I was having communication with the insects that I was pulling out of the pool. And I would be sometimes in the house and feel an urgent call, like a panic reaction.
What, they're falling in, and you'd felt that they're falling in, for example?
Yes, struggling to get out. Struggling for their lives, really, is what it was. And I would go outside to investigate, and there would be somebody there. And so I started devising experiments to see, you know, what I could prove, I guess.
Okay, so what
Uh,
experiments did you do? This is really interesting.
it's funny. So when you leave my back door, you can't see the pool. There's a
Okay.
huge plant, and so I would walk out the back door, but stop and just stand there. And I don't know why I closed my eyes, but I did. I would just stand there with my eyes closed and try to locate in the pool exactly the exact location of what I was feeling.
Okay.
Uh, and the vast majority of the time, there would be somebody there struggling exactly where I thought. Um, and so it was just, it, I was able to reproduce it with such consistency that I started to believe it in a different way. So for
Yeah.
me, I guess partially experiences, partially experiments
Yeah.
to prove. And then I think it just took a while. Honestly, it took a long time for me. I had sort of lost my voice and my sense of self along the journey.
Of course.
And so it took me a while to um, believe in me,
Hmm.
be able to share out loud with others.
Yeah.
Uh, and journals. I wrote in journals a lot. And that was really helpful too, because I would go back and look at things. And I'm sure you can relate to this. There are the things that happen that you don't really notice that much at the time,
Yeah.
but that really mean something. And later you better understand what it means.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And so I would be able to connect the dots and that sort of thing. Um, and that escalated over the years. And I would say, uh, you know, more years than probably it would take for a lot of people.
No,
Probably.
but there is no time limit. We can't say, more years than someone else and so on. I mean, and I'm sure this is our view is the most important question. What I want to ask right now, is regarding your health. You know, um, I'm assuming now that with the cancer, that was something that was able to be treated and healed. And that would lead me on to my next question. How did you move from conversing with the beings in your garden who you were saving their lives? How did you manage to be able to heal thyself and save your life, basically?
Um, so uh, how I would answer this question, I am fine. I'm
Good, good.
blessed.
Right.
Uh, yeah, everything's fine. I speak about this in a way that's probably going to be a little odd for a lot of people. And it's my truth, and I'm not imposing it on anybody else.
No, you speak your
Um,
truth. That's what you're here to do. And we all have to, that's how you do it. We're honored that you're sharing your truth with us and your rawness and your honesty. So go for it.
Thanks. Um, I consider it to be the biggest gift I ever received.
Hmm.
My odds of surviving were not high. Going by memory, and it's good that I don't remember all these details anymore. I think I had about, it was either 8 or 12% my odds, and people are not odds, but 8 or 12% chance of surviving the first 24 months.
Wow.
I really was not expected to survive.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
and, and it was a shock. Um, it was, uh, I don't. It was a shock. I didn't. To wrap your head around that is a lot.
Yeah, I
I
was
was
going to say you
only
can't comprehend that because that's just, you can't even digest it because
no.
it's too huge. And
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, I understand that. That is just, yeah.
you really can't. You really can't digest it. I mean, and
Mhm.
in our culture and society, we don't talk about death. It's always that thing that happens to other people, right? And
Yeah.
if it ever is going to happen to you, I think Americans really think that way,
Okay.
subconsciously. Like if it ever is going to happen to you, it's way off.
When you're
And it's the
old and
kind
you've
of
lived your life and you've
yeah.
done this and you've raised your grandchildren, maybe your great grandchildren or whatever, that kind of conditioned way of thinking. And yeah, as you said yourself, we don't know what's around the corner. None of us do.
No, we really don't.
Mm-mm.
And so my I remember having a lot of really strange thoughts around that. No, they weren't strange at all for the time, but um, because we most of us know somebody, a relative or somebody who has crossed over at an earlier age than a lot of people would
Yeah,
expect,
yeah.
um, and And in my family, that was always kind of like, I kind of remember that person, but not really. And I don't really remember what they were all about or anything else. And I just remember thinking to myself, wow, I'm going to be the person who my nieces and nephews are like, who
Oh,
was that? Yeah,
oh,
and it was,
oh.
that really bothered me.
Yeah,
Um,
understandably.
uh, it was odd, uh, hard to wrap your head around. But I think for me, there was an investigation. I was introduced to an amazing woman who facilitates inward journeys for people for whatever is available.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
it's so cool, right?
Yeah.
She works specifically with cancer patients at the Cleveland Clinic, and she happened to be my dad's neighbor.
Okay.
Um, and uh, she does a lot of guided or visual imagery with regard to healing. We didn't really do that. It was interesting. We did do that, but not in the way a lot of people would think.
Okay.
Um, it wasn't so much envisioning certain treatments working well or, attacking cancer cells or whatever. It was investigating my body. And
Okay.
also, she asked me a question that was pivotal, and I will never forget it. She said, well, Kat, do you want to survive? And I didn't know,
Whoa.
which also surprised me. It wasn't a
Yeah.
question I would have asked myself,
Whoa.
or
Yeah.
or that I consciously would have thought of. And her asking of the question, and it wasn't like I didn't want to live or anything,
I
but
understand.
it
But
was
you were
just
kind of like shocked by the question kind of thing. No one,
yeah,
you wouldn't expect anyone so blatantly to ask such a question.
right. Nobody
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
And it was a gift in and of itself. I was able to investigate
Hmm.
and came to the conclusion that I did want to live,
Hmm.
uh, and started the process of visiting the places in my body that were angry, I guess, sad, angry,
Maybe who didn't
confused.
want to live those places which were like done kind of thing. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. It's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Where I had stored things instead of processing things, and
Mhm.
um, and uh, was able to begin unpacking and the journey of which at that time I'm going to say, if I'm being completely honest, was probably more me trying to die well than it was to live well.
Okay.
Uh, I wasn't sure what I should be doing.
Okay. That
I
kind
knew
of that
that,
probably that self-dignity in yourself, just trying to, I suppose you, I don't know. May I ask you, did you have that feeling that it was your obligation to fight for your life, to make sure that you were here? Or did
no,
you
I
feel
did not at all.
good? That's
I,
good.
I did no, I didn't at all. I I would say initially I was just entirely confused,
Mm-hmm.
and then I began to investigate.
Mm-hmm.
I found a lot of really good people in communities in which to
Mm-hmm.
do that,
Yeah.
and to do it with, and to guide me, which was super important. What I found was, uh, it's funny because it's a normal word. Everybody talks about fighting for your life and
Yeah.
fighting,
Mm-hmm.
to survive and all those sorts of things. And I think the kick is to not. I think the kick is to surrender into whatever is available, and that does not mean surrender into, oh, I'm going to die, I surrender. That means surrender into the experience and see where it takes you.
Wow.
It's an inner journey,
That's
entirely an inner
huge to
journey.
actually be in that place and have and to take that step, because ultimately fear is going to be there, and to say, okay, I'm standing here, I'm looking it in the
Mhm.
eyes, but I'm surrendering to it and letting it unfold to the highest good, which is poor.
Yeah, and I say, I think this is an important distinction. With the benefit of hindsight, I'm saying what I say.
Mm-hmm.
In the moment, I don't think I would have said that I felt like I was surrendering. I think what I would have said was that I was investigating what was available to me in the fullness of my reality,
Yes.
whatever it was,
Yes.
um, what I could investigate and invest in, and what could I find. Um, and it was, I always call it, it's kind of funny, I always call it the biggest cheat a person could ever have.
Really?
It was a
What
huge,
is that?
it was a huge advantage, to be able to unpack a lot quickly,
Mhm.
to be able to move through things and not
Yeah.
allow things to get in your way.
Yeah, that's
When you
huge.
kind
That's
of,
huge. That's not,
it's
I don't know if I could do
try
that.
to, yeah, try to reproduce that in another way, right? When there's
Mhm.
nothing to lose,
Yeah.
everything changes.
Hmm.
And you could look at that as nothing to lose or everything to lose, but in my mind, and I think in the mind of a lot of people with a diagnosis like that, you kind of feel like you've already lost. So,
Yeah.
there's a loss of trust in your body. It feels like you're being taken out or attacked.
Yeah.
I oftentimes, I will tell you though, my understanding of what has occurred, and I am positive of this, is that that was something that I set up for myself, because nothing short of that would have accomplished pulling me out of what I had become involved in. I
Okay.
was enjoying it. I was very successful, and I was being defined externally in a million ways.
Okay.
Uh, and it wasn't what I was here to do. Those skills and the things that I experienced along the way were valuable for me,
Hmm.
but it wasn't the end of my mission. And
Hmm.
I never would, I truly, I never would have left it. It was too comfortable.
Okay. Okay.
Um, so it was, like I said, this is what I mean by, I talk about it in ways that a lot of people may not
So for you, it
understand.
was that huge alarm bell, that huge wake up call, a big, huge slap in the face, basically, and something which you were not expecting in any shape or form. So it completely, as you said, it took you out of the current situation you were in, which you would have never have
Yeah.
left. And, thank goodness that you're here. Thank goodness. And that you
Yeah,
can
thank you.
be, that you can be so, I don't know what the word is, so strong. It sounds so weak. The word strong doesn't sound strong enough, but so dignified. This is how it is. And yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I believe that it's a wake up call for everybody, to be honest with you, when it
Mhm.
comes into your life. It's something that can be really beneficial. And we all choose it for different reasons.
Mhm.
Uh, um, I'm getting stuck on that word choose. But we all engage. I'm going to say engage instead of choose, but we all engage for different reasons. And,
Yeah.
uh, it's wonderful. The shakeup in all the forms in which it comes. And,
Yeah.
it comes in so many different ways. It can be health issues. It can be relationship issues. It can be so many different things, career issues, or all of the above at the same time.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
and the shakeup is a great place to investigate, and ask, and go inward instead of outward, and ask, what's available for me
Yeah.
here, and
Well,
and then begin to take that journey, because it always just goes.
yeah. So obviously you were having, you were working with this doctor, with this lady, and she was doing, you were going within. And how did that all unpack itself that you managed to beat what was there wanting to maybe take you?
Um, so, in fairness, uh, this uh, this journey, this lifetime, Kat
Mhm.
Bendure, um, has almost uh, died. I have doves landing on my windowsill. uh, one foot right on the other side of the
Wow.
screen. Um, uh, I've almost died a bunch of times. And it actually shows up in my human design chart. Uh,
Mhm.
I think I've been told challenging the bounds between life and death. And so part of what I have learned in all of these experiences, um, uh, is healing modalities as well.
Yeah.
So there's that. I think I think I forgot the question.
That's fine. good. You're answering the question. For someone who's forgot the question, you're answering the question really good. How did you, we've all got sidetracked by the doves because I can like feel that coming in and it feels really lovely. How did you heal thyself basically? How did you do that?
How did I heal myself? It was a team effort in the three-dimensional world and on the other side of the veil as well. Yeah. I would say that it's taken a long time, to be honest with you. I'm 10 years out from diagnosis this year.
Brilliant.
And
it's so good.
It is so good. Yeah. And I'm completely in the free and clear. That I know that served its purpose, and I'm on to other things. It took a long time. The physical healing, I will tell you, is I am not looking to go back to where I was.
Yeah.
When I talk about, getting back to where I was, physical function, really, that has come online. I would say visual imagery. I would say counseling. I would say support groups. I would say a lot of inner work and connecting with who I really am, finding my voice, figuring out my vision, mission, purpose, right?
Yeah.
And following that, I have noticed a correlation between how I step into what I'm here to do and and what opens up for me in all the ways, including healing mentally, emotionally, energetic, physically, all of those things. I think there's a connection. There are so many different ways to do it.
Yeah, definitely. That's powerful. I've got goosebumps all down my legs now as well. They've gone all like tingly as well. It's just like, it's really sitting with me, definitely. Wow. So I guess would there be a pivotal, I suppose, the pivotal moment where you would say, that you're being thyself, being sovereignly kept, this is who I am, this is what my mission is, this is what I'm here to do, this is who I'm here to be, and I'm not being anything else but that. Do you know when that point was? How would you like to explain that?
It's been steps, right? So
yeah.
I can remember having an awareness, but being confused about what it was, and reaching out to others to help who do the kinds of things that you and I do.
To help you unpack it. Sometimes it's difficult to unpack. Or
it is difficult to unpack. It's also,
it's just,
even when you've unpacked it, I think it's hard to get clarity about yourself. It's so much easier for me to do it with other people.
For us
and
all,
when it comes to me, right, I need help. And so it was receiving information from others as well, and reflection and witness, and then showing up, identifying what I wanted to do, doing it kind of covertly initially.
Like we did.
Like we all did. And then showing up. I remember the first time I showed up in person to do work with somebody. I think I canceled 3 or 4 times before I finally showed up. Wow. Actually, because I was so scared.
Yeah.
But just working through the jitters, getting the support that I needed, and it's changed. I think this is important to understand, that I think for most of us, whatever we're aware of initially, when we start to actually engage in that, so much more opens up.
Oh yeah.
Right. So the more you show up, the more drops in, and the more you realize what you're actually doing, I guess. And so it's still is my favorite thing, is when it doesn't happen all the time, but it happens regularly, when something new shows up, and I'm on the ride just like the other person is. It's my favorite thing. So it's still, I am now very clear about who I am, what I am, and what I'm here for. And I would say that the clarity has come in the doing, and I don't think I would have gotten it in any other way. So it's okay to be unclear. Sorry about the dogs.
That's fine. So these animals want to join in. It's absolutely fine. We've got doves, we've got dogs. Come on, all in. So you know, I obviously said your bio, who you are, what you do, you know, what advice would you personally like to give our viewers today, you know, on their own personal path, whatever they're going through, whatever they're experiencing, you know, what was like a key for you to really step into that sovereignty, for you to really say, this is who I am, you know, this is my mission. I stand for it. I'm not gonna cancel on anyone anymore. I'm not gonna hide away because I'm too scared for my light to be seen, or, you know, because I'm worried about what someone might think of me, because, you know, it might be for them a bit too out there. But, you know, I'm Kat. I talk to different beings on this realm and many different realms, you know, and this is who I am. It's what I do. So
There is a circus going on. Can I close the door?
yeah, of course, no worries.
I'm sorry, hold on.
That's okay.
Hey, girls. Hey, enough. Hi. Okay, I'm sorry. Of course, someone comes to the door right in the middle, right?
That's absolutely fine. It's so good. It's fine. No worries at all.
I don't know that they're going to stop barking. I've made the request. We'll see what happens. I would answer that question by saying that there's a story somebody told me one time that really resonated with me. He's a Dan Robertson. He does NLP in Phoenix, and I love him. And he told me the story about going through the coursework with 12 other people, I think that the figure was, and who had experienced NLP themselves as recipients, loved what it had done for their own lives. Okay, hopefully that helps. I think there's literally someone standing outside my front door. I'm sorry. Hopefully they'll go away.
There's absolutely no reason to apologize.
Okay, good. So anyway, he engaged in this class with the 12. And when it came time to practice on each other within the class, people were very reticent to do it. They were afraid. And they did practice in the class, but there was a holdback, a real holdback, and it changed the experience, right? And after class, they agreed that they would get together and practice, the 12 of them.
Yeah.
Six of those people didn't ever show up.
Whoa.
They decided too risky, too much fear, too much.
Didn't want to be seen, didn't want to be, they were worried about being judged.
Yes, yeah. And of the 6 who showed up, he was the only one who went out into the world and actually offered the modality to others.
Wow.
He kept in touch with everybody and he would encourage, but he was the only one that actually went out and facilitated. And I actually called him. I think I canceled. I mentioned I rescheduled. It was for animal communication. It was the first time I was going to someone's home to do it in person.
Oh, wow.
I was terrified.
Yes.
And I called him and I was like, I can't do it. I've already rescheduled 3 times. And he said to me that story. He told me that story. And he said, you know, Kat, it isn't about you at all. You're not doing anything. Your job is to show up and get out of the way.
Oh, wow.
And I still tell myself that all the time. I actually say a prayer before I enter into an interaction, and I bring myself, remind myself to the understanding, remind myself that this isn't about me.
Yeah.
And I really am showing up and getting out. I'm getting my person, my human, I'm getting out of the way.
That's huge.
It is huge. I think it makes it a whole lot easier, because if we're thinking we're doing it,
yeah,
good luck to you.
Yeah. I mean, in theory, we know that we're the vessel, we know that, but so our humanness still thinks, well, you know, I've got to be there, and the human fear comes in. It does come in, you know. You have days where you're not completely 100% impressed with yourself or think you can show up or can deliver at the standard that you want to deliver. It's normal. We're human, you know? So obviously sometimes that little bit of fear is going to creep in, but that's an awesome tip to share. Yeah. That our job is,
I mean, it's like, for
it's
me,
huge.
it's
Yeah.
life changing.
Yeah,
It's life changing.
totally.
And then what I would add to that is, I have seen clearly over time, I'm sure you've seen the same, that the days we think we're off, the days we think something is different or it's less or whatever,
Yeah.
it's literally always perfect.
Yeah.
Whatever shows up is always perfect.
It's exactly as it's supposed to be.
Exactly as it's supposed to be, exactly what was needed. So I think that it's important to operate in a recognition or sense of what I call faith, having faith
And
in
not to have that expectation of yourself because it's
right
you.
intention,
Yeah. Yeah.
intention, not expectation, right?
Yeah.
Expectation tends to
Mm-hmm.
put a ceiling on everything.
Exactly. And if we have that expectation, think, oh my God, I don't feel like I can deliver today, or, that means we're not listening to we're not setting that intention. We're doing it the other way around with the expectation and canceling that out kind of thing. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, well said. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's my biggest thing is um, finding that balance of, and I think it's so important too. I feel like it all comes back to curiosity and humility when you think about it. Like, so, right, get yourself out of the way, be curious, show up, investigate,
Yeah.
remind yourself over and over again, no matter how much you've learned, that you don't know what you think you know.
Yeah.
Because
We
it all, in
like
those moments,
this much,
yeah.
And
And
we're lucky
whatever
if we know
understanding
that
we
much,
have,
It's just like, yeah.
lucky if we know that much and can remember even,
Yeah, even a
less.
portion of that little bit, yeah.
Yeah. And then the thing that you're pretty comfortable in and you're pretty sure is this way, on another day, something else will show up and make you look at that entirely differently. So,
Oh, yeah.
just that's what I would say about it. What you said at the beginning, like you love what you're doing and you're having fun. If you're having fun, if you're if it's always an adventure, that's how I like to look at it. Like, this is an
Yeah.
adventure and an exploration, like what's going to happen here.
Mm.
I think that's a big part of it too.
Yeah, and what makes the adventure the curiosity.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I like that a lot. So how can people reach out to you, Kat? And when they reach out to you, what can you offer? I mean, we introduced you beautifully, but what kind of obviously it's very unique what you offer to people, and I'm pretty certain it's all very based to what that person needs. But what could someone expect in a session with you? So if someone sparked that curiosity and really feeling that draw and really resonates with you and think, hey, this is someone who I know sees me. How can people reach out to you, and what can they expect? What can you offer them?
So I've recently partnered with somebody. Her name is Angie Grimes. Angie and I have just created a company together so that we can put the two of us together, cover a spectrum that is kind of perfect. I don't believe it's accidental. We represent polarities and cover the ground in the middle and are able to facilitate things in a different way because of it. So what I would say is you can find me on Facebook, and my Facebook page is Kat Bendure. That's probably the easiest way to find me. We've recently started a community and offer courses. They're courses not to teach people what we do. It's foundational work for people to investigate who they are, be
That's
witnessed and seen, and
wonderful.
right, and it's fun, and uncover, provide clarity, build awarenesses so that they can fully embody themselves and what they're here to do. And gosh, it depends. What can somebody expect to experience in a session? This is so funny.
Because you work, I know you work with
is
the angelics. I know you work with healing modalities, but
I work with
it's like
animals,
there is
angels.
no,
Yes,
we can't
what you're
pinpoint
saying
you. We
is
can't
true.
say, you do this, you do it
Here's
all.
what I would say.
Yeah.
I don't know about it all, but what I would say, I work with animals, angels, guides, and ascended masters. I do facilitate animal communication. Angie and I um, uh, work with the specifics of the design of the person, and also um, what's available universally
Mm-hmm.
for the enhancement of the alignment and the experience and the understanding in the now time for the person. What I don't want to leave out of this, what's super important to me in my
Yeah.
heart, is what we all refer to animals, non-human beings.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, a lot of us do this work with our uh, animal people counterparts, and
That's,
a lot of what I do is bringing that into the equation as well. They're here for their own journeys that are
yeah.
just as valuable and valid as ours,
Yes.
um, uh, and also in tandem, just like our children, right?
Mm,
There's a shared experience, learning, and support to be had as well.
definitely.
Um, and I like to um, increase awareness, I guess,
Yeah.
about that and what's available in that space when somebody is really resonating with that. Certainly, work with people who don't have animal companions as well. So, um, what somebody will experience, um,
It's unique to them, isn't it? Basically, what they
it's
experience is,
it's entirely unique to them.
yeah.
It's the thing I have the hardest time explaining.
Yeah, which is that you can't actually put it in words. But I think, in your bio, you actually did put it really the best it can be in words that, increase personal understanding and encourage choice that leads to wholeness and fulfillment of mission. I think that basically just since it just sums it up nicely. It really does, and very clearly, because
Yeah.
we can't generalize, we can't generalize at all. Not at all. Wow. Oh, it's just so nice. I'm just so glad and so grateful that you're here. And, I'm
Thank you.
celebrating that you've been 10 years. Really, really good. That's really good. And
Yeah, it's
yeah, it's
exciting.
just, I don't know, I'm digesting everything you're saying myself. I'm sure everybody else is. And it's just, you have a very beautiful perspective of seeing things. And I'm very grateful that you've shared with that with us all today as well. And I'm sure it's not always easy, even though you're looking back in hindsight and talking about something, but I'm sure, it brings stuff up again. And it's, probably every time it's revisited, it's something else that unpacks itself, or, you see it from a different perspective. And it's just one of those
Yeah, I think
diseases,
that's
which,
true.
yeah.
I also think that no matter the event that you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about,
Yeah.
when you really dive in to grab everything that's available there, right? To
Mm-hmm.
invest and investigate um, what's available for me in this experience.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because it's never accidental or coincidental. Nothing here is.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I experiencing this? What do I need here? There's something I
Yeah.
need here. What do I need? And when we find what that thing is, um, the revisiting of the thing, uh, it doesn't feel like, oh, I'm revisiting something um, horrible or traumatizing, or it feels like I'm revisiting a lesson, right? Like the
There's more
stairs that we
clarity, I guess,
climb,
isn't there? There's more clarity and understanding, maybe.
and joy
Mm.
and peace,
Yeah,
um,
peace
and
is
and
peace is a
and the
huge
ability
word.
to walk up this, right? The
Yeah.
ability to walk up the stairs. I like this analogy, and each stair step being a lesson that once you've learned, you leave behind for the next person to climb up, rather than
Mm.
picking it up and carrying it on your back,
Yeah.
and and then not being able to, all hunched over and can't even look up and see the top of the staircase, much less climb to it because you're so weighed down by what was.
Oh yeah.
Um, but in, you know, when we're fully present in the experience, all that's there for us to gain,
Mm,
know, come to be, that doesn't happen. And then it's easy to say, okay, this is why, this was the place, this is the purpose it served,
yeah.
and now, you know, thank you, and on to the next. And um, so, I mean, honestly, for me, it's no different than revisiting talking about, you know, how was your Tuesday, Kat?
Okay, that's cool then. That's cool. That's really good. Wow, I feel like we've just been gifted a book of knowledge. I really do feel like we've just been gifted. Seriously, it feels like, you know, it's like that little tiny book you have somewhere what you can reflect to. It's how it feels today. It really feels very deep and very profound and very valuable. So thank you. And
Well, I
I'm
think you bring that
thank
to the
you
table
for
too.
myself and thank you for everybody who's watching today. And I would be delighted to have you back for a cover very, very, very soon. And for anyone who wants to reach out to Kat, reach out to her directly. If you want to come via me, that's also absolutely not a problem at all. I'll most gladly put you two in contact. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this cuppa as much as I have, and that you've taken so much away as what I have as well today. And yeah, wishing you all a beautiful morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. And thank you, Kat, for having the time for us today. And we look forward to
Thank you,
seeing
Kelly.
everybody very, very soon. So take care and bye-bye.